In the chill of early October 2025, the heavens stage a spectacle that sees the scientific world. An enigmatic voyager from the depths of interstellar space, known as a Oumuamua, carved a path through the void, swinging to within 30 million kilometers of the rust-red sands of Mars. This was humanity's rare, fleeting chance to gaze upon a messenger from another star. All eyes turned to the high-resolution imaging science experiment camera, HiRISE, perched upon NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. On the 2nd and 3rd of October, its powerful lens was tasked with capturing the celestial visitor. The data it returned was nothing short of revolutionary, offering a stunning clarity of 30 kilometers per pixel, a resolution 3 times sharper than the best image taken by the Hubble Space Telescope just months before in July. Where Hubble had seen only a smudge from a distant, edge-on perspective, HiRISE delivered a stark, sideways portrait. This new angle promised to reveal the object's secrets, how it sheds material, how it danced with the solar wind on its journey through our inner solar system. For the men and women of science, this was more than data. It was a key to a locked door, a chance to understand the very structure and substance of a traveler from a star we may never see. Yet a silence fell. Despite the fevered anticipation, the HiRISE images were not released. Days bled into weeks. By the end of October, the data remained locked away. The official reason was a government shutdown that had begun on October 1st, crippling NASA's administrative functions. It was a plausible tale of bureaucratic paralysis, but in the vacuum of information, other, darker seeds began to sprout. Across the digital landscape, whispers grew into a chorus of speculation. Could the images have captured something extraordinary? Evidence of advanced technology, perhaps, or artificial features etched upon the interstellar rock. When confronted, the prominent astrophysicist Avi Loeb addressed the rumors with characteristic candor. He dismissed the notion of alien conspiracies, pointing instead to what he called terrestrial foolishness, a simple yet profound failure of bureaucracy. He voiced with profound disappointment, arguing that the scientific process was being held hostage by political squabbles. Every day of delay was a day of lost science, a setback in the global race to decode the visitor's secrets. The story soon burst beyond academic circles. In a conversation with Joe Rogan, Loeb was urged to act. Heeding the call, he reached out to Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Their collaboration resulted in a formal, impassioned letter to NASA's acting administrator, demanding transparency. Representative Luna's intervention was a decisive strike for open science, a powerful reminder that space agencies serve the public, and that the cosmos does not wait for human political calendars. This episode became more than a dispute over data. It was a stark illustration of the eternal tension between the relentless pursuit of knowledge and the grinding wheels of institutional inertia. Then, the narrative exploded. In the last few hours, social media has erupted. Whisper became a roar. Oumuamua, they claim, transmitted a message to Earth. The story went viral in a heartbeat, fueled by the coincidental release of fresh telescope data to select research groups. Speculation curdled into widespread suspicion that something monumental had occurred. The timeline of this new mystery begins earlier. On June 5, 2025, the SETI Institute confirmed the unthinkable. A narrowband radio signal, purposeful and repeating, had been intercepted from the direction of Kepler 442b, a potentially habitable world 1,200 light-years away. For over 40 years, SETI had sifted through cosmic static and satellite chatter. This was different. Its modulation patterns were structured, complex, and woven with the unmistakable signature of intelligence, an encoded language that resembled human codes but was infinitely more sophisticated. At the first press briefing, Dr. Lina Ramani, a collaborating astrophysicist, faced the world. Her voice trembled as she described the phenomenon, admitting it bore the hallmarks of a non-human intellect. Then, mid-sentence, the live stream died. It never returned. The ensuing silence was deafening. 2 days later, on June 7th, an anonymous user on an underground forum leaked a document. It was a purported internal NASA briefing, filled with spectrograms, waveform analyses, and AI-assisted translations. Its most chilling element was a partial transcript of the decoded message. "We have watched. We come in cycles. You are not alone. Prepare. The starkness of the words ignited a digital firestorm. Independent researchers and amateur astronomers dove into the data, verifying its alarming sophistication. But by June 9th, the information was systematically erased from the internet, a digital purge that, to many, confirmed its terrifying authenticity. On June 11th, the White House issued a tepid statement, acknowledging anomalies, but denying any evidence of intelligence. That same day, NASA's Deep Space Network went offline for maintenance. SETI's website went dark. The Allen Telescope Array live feed displayed only an error code. The coordination was too perfect to be chance. Then, a whistleblower emerged, Jake, a verified former JPL employee. He revealed the transmission was not one way. Earth had sent a ping and multiple intelligent responses had been received. When pressed, he revealed the core of the communication. It was not a threat, but an invitation. Yet, in the face of this revelation, a great silence descended. Major media ignored the story. Independent journalists found themselves blocked. Even prominent scientists who spoke out, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, quickly retracted their statements. The story of the century was being memory-holed. As the days passed, the sky itself began to speak. On June 15th, amateur astronomers across Chile, Japan, and Canada documented strange, rhythmic flashes of light from Kepler 442b. 3 flashes, then 6, then 3 again, repeating in a precise 19-hour cycle. It was a visual echo of the radio signal, a deliberate, sophisticated beacon. For those who had followed the trail, the evidence was now a cascade, a structured signal, a decoded message, an earthly reply, and an answer. The word prepare became the focus of global debate, an announcement, a warning, or an invitation to a galactic community. The repeating 363 pattern in the heavens was a confirmation that the conversation had escalated. The institutional silence has now become its own message. By withdrawing, restricting, and refusing to speak, the powers of the world have not calmed the speculation. They have confirmed the profound reality of the phenomenon. We stand on the precipice of contact, and our governments are desperately trying to control a revelation they cannot contain. The events that culminated on June 2nd, 2025, mark an irrevocable turning point. A message came. It was decoded. We replied, and we were answered. This truth may not be broadcast on your television screen, but it lives on in the records of the vigilant, in the flashes of light witnessed by backyard astronomers, and in that single, haunting word that echoes into our future: prepare. In a stunning act of transparency, the FBI declassified a trove of files, peeling back the veil on decades of encounters with unidentified flying objects. Among the thousands of pages, one particular report erupted into the public consciousness, a document so profound it detailed not just the crafts, but their otherworldly occupants, the dire perils of confronting them, and the physics-defying technology at their command. The document issues a stark warning. A very serious situation may develop at any time with regard to the flying saucers. Should one be attacked, the aggressor aircraft will be met with certain destruction. Such an event, it cautions, would ignite global panic and shatter international trust. It then unveils a reality so fantastic it strains conventional understanding. Part of the discs carry crews. Others are under remote control. Their mission is peaceful. The visitors contemplate settling on this planet. These beings, the report describes, are human-like but of a grander scale. They are not spirits of the dead, but entities from their own world, a world that exists interwoven with our own, invisible to our senses. As they cross into our vibrational reality, their bodies and ships materialize before our eyes. The discs wield a form of radiant energy, a beam that can disintegrate any attacker in an instant. They can slip back into the etheric plane at will, vanishing without a trace. This realm is not some astral fantasy, but a parallel dimension, a concept familiar to dedicated students of esoteric science. They are blind to our radio, but can be tracked by radar, a flickering echo of their presence. This is not merely a sighting report. It is a foundational disclosure. It presents a narrative of conscious, intelligent visitors operating with impunity, whose technology renders our most powerful militaries obsolete. The implication is clear. Authorities have known these objects are not just real, but are piloted by a formidable, non-human intelligence. The document's descriptions shatter all known aeronautical principles. Witnesses speak of crafts executing impossible maneuvers, hypersonic velocities, right-angle turns, silent hovering, and instantaneous dematerialization. This points to a propulsion system harnessing anti-gravity or zero-point energy, technologies that exist only in our most theoretical dreams. Most startling are the accounts of the occupants themselves. Credible sources describe humanoid entities, observers who study our world with a calm, superior intellect. Their passive yet persistent monitoring forces us to question everything. What are their intentions? How long have they been here? And to what extent have they already intervened in human affairs? The report's most chilling section is its military advisory. Engaging these crafts is not just futile, it is suicidal. Their technological supremacy is absolute. Historical encounters describe UFOs effortlessly disabling the electronics of advanced fighter jets, a silent, non-lethal demonstration of their dominance. This suggests an intelligence that not only possesses superior firepower, but also a deep understanding of human aggression and a willingness to deliver a calibrated response. The release of this file is a seismic event. For many, it is a long-awaited, if unspoken, admission from a government agency. We are not alone, and we have never been. The sheer consistency of these accounts, from military pilots to intelligence officers across decades, forms an unassailable body of evidence. The long-standing classification of this information begs a question. If these encounters were trivial, why the decades of secrecy? The truth, if fully acknowledged, would trigger a global paradigm shift. It would force a painful reckoning for religious doctrines and scientific orthodoxy alike. Governments, fearing the collapse of social order and their own authority, have chosen to manage this reality in the shadows. To admit powerlessness against these objects would be to shatter the very foundation of national security. There's a more unsettling possibility that certain world powers have already established contact and are hoarding the cosmic spoils. The potential to reverse engineer this otherworldly technology for defense, for energy, for space travel represents an advantage so profound it must be protected at all costs. According to high-level sources, this conspiracy of silence is enforced by a shadowy apparatus within the CIA itself, the Office of Global Access, OGA. Established in 2003 within the agency's Science and Technology Directorate, the OGA specializes in clandestine operations to recover and retrieve unidentified objects that have crashed across the globe. The U.S. government, these sources claim, is in possession of at least 9 such vehicles of non-human origin. While some were recovered damaged, 2 were found perfectly intact. The OGA operates as the master architect of retrieval. It coordinates with elite military units, Navy SEALs Delta Force, the Air Force's 24th Special Tactics Squadron, who are dispatched to secure crash sites in any corner of the world, often behind enemy lines. Their mission, to secure the object with utmost secrecy and speed. Crucially, the wreckage is never held by the military for long. To bypass government oversight, the materials are swiftly transferred to a network of private aerospace contractors. Lockheed Martin is repeatedly named as a key custodian of these otherworldly artifacts, shielding them from audit under the guise of corporate trade secrets. The Department of Energy's national labs are contracted to analyze exotic materials, while defense contractors work on the intact craft themselves. This system is so compartmentalized that most participants are unaware of the true nature of their work. They are told they are recovering enemy technology or downed satellites, their roles siloed to maintain the secret. It is a modern Manhattan Project, where engineers build a component without knowing they are helping construct an atomic bomb. The credibility of these claims is now being validated at the highest levels. In a historic congressional hearing, David Grush, a former high-ranking intelligence official, testified under oath about a decades-long illegal UFO retrieval program. His testimony, deemed urgent and credible by the intelligence community Inspector General, alleges the U.S. has been recovering and reverse engineering non-human vehicles since the 1930s. In a move that legitimizes these incredible assertions, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer introduced groundbreaking legislation, championed by a bipartisan coalition, to force the disclosure of all technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence. This bill, passing the Senate with remarkable support, represents the most significant political acknowledgement of the phenomenon in history. The pieces of the puzzle are now falling into place. A secret office within the CIA, a fleet of recovered otherworldly vehicles, a pipeline to private industry, and sworn testimony before Congress all point to one inescapable conclusion. A covert, multi-generational operation has been tasked with harvesting the greatest secret in human history. The official silence is not for lack of evidence, but controlled management of a truth too profound for the world to bear, until now. In the fading light of October 2025, a digital tremor raced across the internet. A video, sourced from satellite-based magnetic mapping software, revealed a secret sleeping on the floor of the Atlantic, near the remote volcanic outpost of Ascension Island. A colossal T-shaped anomaly burned in the magnetic data, a stark, geometric ghost in a world of organic curves. This was no gentle gradient of the Earth's crust. It was a near-perfect right angle, a rigid, symmetrical structure measuring 50 miles across, etched into the seabed as if by a divine draftsman. In the swirling, colorful topographical overlays, the T stood apart, a glowing, intelligent signature in a chaotic landscape. Its vertical bar ran an unwavering north-south, its horizontal arm a precise east-west, a formation that defied the very logic of geology. The location itself whispered of secrets. Ascension Island, a speck of land between South America and Africa, has long been a strategic linchpin. A joint Royal Air Force and United States Space Force base occupies its shores. Decades earlier, during the fervor of the space race, NASA built a critical tracking station there, its antennas listening to the whispers of Gemini and Apollo capsules. That such a perfect, unnatural shape should lie in the shadow of such a place was a coincidence too potent to ignore. Analysts and digital explorers who descended upon the footage found themselves confronting the impossible. The Earth does not make straight lines. Its ocean floor is sculpted by millions of years of tectonic violence and volcanic flow, producing ridges, fissures, and chaotic seams, never crisp 90-degree angles. The magnetic field around the anomaly was intense, uniform, and confined to this razor-sharp outline. Unlike the diffuse, chaotic fields of natural iron-rich rock, theories erupted like the island's own volcano. Was it the ghost of an ancient, buried installation, a piece of technology so vast it dwarfed all human construction? Could it be an energy generator, a beacon, or a gateway, its purpose lost to prehistory? The more pragmatic wondered if it was a modern experiment, a deep-sea project in magnetic propulsion or energy transmission, hidden beneath miles of water and official denial. The anomaly's sheer scale and precision pointed to an intelligence, a design. It was an artifact, and its presence in a region long rumored to have strange magnetic fluctuations and unexplained sonar contacts suggested it was not inert, but perhaps active, a silent, humming engine deep in the abyss, its purpose unknown. Across the world, off the coast of Peru, a different mystery had already taken root in the public mind. For years, a strange object had rested on the Pacific seafloor, visible to any digital explorer using Google Earth. It was not its size, hundreds of feet in diameter, nor its circular, saucer-like silhouette that caused the greatest stir. It was a trail, a long, deep groove, bending and twisting as if with purpose, stretched across the seabed behind it. It looked for all the world as if this colossal object had moved, plowing to the sediment with immense, deliberate force. The image captivated the online world. Was it a massive buried vehicle? A sunken craft from a forgotten age, or something else entirely? Theories swirled. Some saw a lost relic of a prehistoric civilization, evidence that human history was but a shallow layer on a much deeper past. Others speculated it was a secret military submersible, a burrowing vehicle of unimaginable capability. The object's perfect symmetry and the clear, maneuverable path of its trail resisted all simple explanations of geology or sonar artifact. Then, the mystery deepened in the most suspicious way possible. The object vanished, not from the ocean, but from the map, in updated satellite imagery. The once clear formation was now a blur, a digital smudge where a defined structure had been. The act of censorship was as clear as the original image. The question became a roar. If it was just a rock, Why erase it? The digital scrubbing echoed a pattern seen with other controversial finds, fueling a conviction that the truth of our own planet, particularly its unexplored oceans, is being deliberately curated and concealed. This Peruvian anomaly and its disappearance became a symbol. It highlighted that 95% of our ocean remains a terra incognita, and that the tools granting us glimpses into this abyss, like Google Earth, can also be used to hide what is found there. The narrative of hidden underwater structures found its nexus in the legendary Malibu anomaly. For years, a colossal, oval-shaped structure was visible 6 miles off the coast of Point Dumais. Stretching an incredible 3 miles in length, it appeared to show pillars and a vast entrance, a submerged citadel on the continental shelf. Its story was supercharged by the testimony of a 93-year-old amateur radio operator known as Mr. EMTT, a ham radio enthusiast since 1938. He reported intercepting strange, unwavering signals of unknown origin. Using a powerful antenna mounted on his truck, he triangulated the source. It was emanating from the very coordinates of the underwater structure. The signal was close, powerful, and persistent. The anomaly's original discoverer, author Robert M. Stanley, wove an even grander tale. He believed the structure was not a base, but a colossal, ancient spacecraft, submerged for millennia. He pointed to its alignment with local megalithic monuments and Chumash tribal legends that speak of a great flood 12,000 years ago. Stanley speculated it could be a stargate, a wormhole for interdimensional travel, and claimed the U.S. Navy was acutely aware of it, operating submarines through ancient lava tubes that connected underground bases in the Mojave Desert. The official word, from experts like David Schwartz of the U.S. Geological Survey, was a predictable dose of cold water. He attributed the formation to the natural slumping and erosion of the continental shelf, a victim of seismic shaking and changing sea levels. A natural formation, nothing more. But for those who had seen the data, heard the signals, and witnessed the digital erasures, the official explanations fell hollow. The T-shaped magnetic beacon in the Atlantic, the moving object off Peru, the signal-emitting colossus near Malibu, together, they formed an undeniable pattern. They painted a picture of an Earth that is not a barren rock hurtling through space, but a world honeycombed with secrets. Its deepest oceans may hide the ruins of lost ages, the technology of unknown intelligences, or active gateways to realms beyond our understanding. The silence from official institutions is not a denial of the mystery, but a confirmation that the greatest discoveries are not in the stars above, but in the dark, silent world beneath the waves. On the 17th of October, 2025, a single image flashed across the data feeds of the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. For a fleeting moment, it was there, a photograph that would ignite a firestorm of controversy and become one of the most debated solar captures of the modern era. Briefly available on NASA's public portal before it vanished, the image revealed a colossal spherical object suspended near the sun, an anomaly so profound it sent immediate shockwaves through both the scientific community and the world of online researchers. In that narrow window, sharp-eyed observers captured screenshots, preserving the moment and spreading it like digital wildfire across social media and private astronomy forums. They had secured what many now call the most extraordinary glimpse of the unknown ever released, even if its official life was measured in minutes. The object itself was staggering in scale. Judged against the sun's broiling surface, it dwarfed our own planet many times over. It hung motionless in the seething corona, that halo of million-degree plasma which crowns a star. Yet, against this infernal backdrop, the sphere remained perfectly intact. Its edges crisp and defined, its form undistorted by the hellish environment. It cast a stark, distinct shadow against the coronal light, while a faint, luminous aura seemed to cling to its surface, as though it were interacting with the sun's immense magnetic field. This very clarity and resilience defied all known physics. To endure such proximity to the sun without being vaporized or melted would require materials and engineering far beyond any human capability. Even our most advanced heat-resistant alloys would disintegrate long before reaching that distance. This single, chilling fact has led many to a staggering conclusion. The object is not natural. It is an artificial construct, engineered to survive conditions that should be impossible for any conventional craft. The speed of its removal from NASA's archives only poured fuel on the flames of speculation. Why would this one extraordinary frame be scrubbed so hastily when the agency routinely publishes thousands of solar images monthly, including those featuring cosmic rays, camera artifacts, and lens flares? To many, this was not routine data curation. It was a deliberate act, a conscious effort to withhold evidence of something the agency was not prepared to explain. Researchers and independent analysts were quick to point out that this was not an isolated incident. For decades, reports have persisted of enormous, unexplained structures appearing in solar imagery. Amateur astronomers, sifting through data from SOHO and other missions like the Solar Dynamics Observatory, have cataloged geometric shapes, spheres, cubes, and elongated craft-like forms, hovering near the solar limb. These appearances are often brief, sometimes lasting only a few frames before disappearing from subsequent datasets. Their consistency in shape and size across different sightings suggests a pattern, not random visual noise. Some speculate these could be vessels from a fleet of advanced craft, perhaps stationed near the sun for purposes we cannot fathom. Others believe they may be part of a long-term presence, objects that appear, vanish, and reappear over time, possibly following orbital paths concealed by the sun's blinding glare. What sets the October 17th image apart, however, is its stunning clarity and dimensionality. This was no pixelated blur or overexposure artifact. The object appeared as a fully realized sphere, with a visual contrast against a radiant plasma that implied real depth and immense mass. It exhibited none of the streaking or distortion typical of reflections, dust, or data compression. The evidence pointed toward solidity, a coherent, immense structure occupying the most hostile region of our solar system. Theories about its purpose and origin erupted. Some propose it is a stellar energy collector, a craft of unimaginable scale designed to harvest plasma or electromagnetic energy from the sun itself. Others speculate it might be an observatory, monitoring solar activity for scientific or defensive reasons. There are even those who believe it could be a refueling station, a waypoint for smaller interstellar craft, recharging their systems from the star's boundless power. Adding another layer to the mystery, the image was time-stamped precisely at 1800 hours Coordinated Universal Time. Enthusiasts cross-reference this moment with other solar data, noting that several smaller flares and coronal mass ejections were recorded just hours before and after. Did the object cause these energetic events, or did arrive in response to them? The conversation has grown so loud it has reached the halls of professional astronomy and astrophysics. While most official statements from space agencies still attribute such anomalies to lens reflections or sensor interference, public skepticism has never been higher. The geometric perfection and consistent illumination of the object defies simple explanations. It has convinced a growing number that this was no glitch, but a physical entity with structure and intent. Driven by this conviction, independent astronomy groups have begun a deep dive into years of archived SOHO and SDO data, searching for corroborating evidence. Some have already reported finding past instances where large spherical shapes appeared in the same region near the sun, often during periods of heightened solar activity. These repeated appearances, captured across different missions and years, suggest that whatever these objects are, they may be returning visitors or permanent fixtures residing within the sun's powerful gravitational or electromagnetic embrace. The concept is not without scientific precedent. In theoretical astrophysics, constructs like Dyson spheres, stellar energy collectors built by advanced civilizations, have long been discussed. A society capable of such engineering would possess a mastery over energy far beyond our own. The October 17th image, some argue, could be the first visual proof of such a concept, an active stellar engineering project operating in our own backyard. For now, the image remains a singular, haunting moment in the history of space observation, a fleeting glimpse of something vast, unexplainable, and potentially intelligent. Its rapid removal has only amplified the public's resolve to understand what was seen. In our digital age, where information can be captured and preserved by millions in an instant, even a momentary slip in data control can unveil a revelation of immense consequence. The sphere from October 17th, 2025, may never be officially acknowledged, but its impression is permanent. To those who study solar anomalies, It stands as the most compelling evidence yet that our sun is not alone. To everyone else, it is a humbling reminder that our understanding of the cosmos is still in its infancy, that in the blazing heart of our own solar system, there may be visitors or watchers whose technology operates on a scale we can scarcely imagine. Mysterious aircraft have long captivated the human imagination, a subject of fierce debate among believers, skeptics, and researchers. Among the most compelling chapters of this enduring mystery are the reported sightings of unidentified objects in close proximity to the sun. These accounts have spawned countless theories about what these objects could be and what purpose they might serve. Reports of enigmatic objects near the sun are not a new phenomenon. Some of the earliest documented sightings date back to the mid-20th century. These accounts often describe objects moving at incredible velocities or executing complex maneuvers near the sun's surface. Frequently, these sightings are made by amateur astronomers or are captured in the vast libraries of images and videos from solar observation satellites like NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. The SOHO Image Library, being publicly accessible, is a fertile ground for discovery. Recently, one particular photograph has ignited a firestorm of online speculation, its meaning and origins hotly contested. Those who witnessed the image reported seeing what appeared to be waves or ripples emanating from a point near the sun, and behind these disturbances a large, circular object could be discerned. Intriguingly, this is not the first time a circular object has been documented near our star. This repetition has led some researchers to propose that it could belong to an advanced civilization, perhaps a probe dispatched to investigate signs of life, mirroring our own efforts to explore other planets in the solar system. A spectrum of explanations has been proposed. Some theorists suggest these objects are harnessing the sun's colossal energy to fuel their spacecraft, which would explain their frequent appearance in such a hostile environment. Even scientists acknowledge that the sheer vastness of space defies human comprehension. Another tantalizing possibility is that an intelligent species is using our sun as a gateway or a portal. Skeptics, however, offer a more mundane explanation. The so-called discovery is simply a sunspot, a natural and well-understood solar phenomenon. Yet, the diversity of shapes and sizes reported, from metallic disc-shaped objects to cigar-shaped or triangular crafts, continues to fuel speculation. This variety has given rise to theories ranging from advanced extraterrestrial visitation to secret military projects testing next-generation technology. One prominent theory among enthusiasts is that the objects are spacecraft operated by beings from beyond our world. Proponents argue that an advanced civilization would logically harness a star's energy for propulsion or to power advanced technology. While this hypothesis has gained a dedicated following, it remains speculative, lacking the empirical evidence required for scientific acceptance. Interestingly, while scientists are typically cautious in their language regarding such discoveries, some have conceded the possibility. They point out that humanity's keen interest in space is barely a century old, and we still have an immense amount to learn about the universe. It was, after all, only in 2019 that we captured the first direct image of a black hole. Therefore, some researchers argue, while these theories may sound far-fetched, it is crucial to maintain an open and inquisitive mind. Skeptics counter that many sightings can be attributed to natural solar phenomena. Solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and sunspots can produce bizarre and complex shapes when viewed from a distance, easily misinterpreted by an eager observer. Another plausible explanation involves image artifacts or optical illusions. Images from satellites like SOHO can contain flaws introduced by the imaging process itself, lens flare, image noise, or data compression errors, which can be mistaken for physical objects. The study of these mysterious sightings is fraught with difficulty, primarily due to the challenge of obtaining reliable data. The sun's intense radiation and heat make close observation with conventional telescopes nearly impossible. Furthermore, the vast majority of sightings are based on anecdotal reports, which are vulnerable to misperception, memory distortion, and cognitive bias. The highly speculative nature of prevailing theories, often amplified by sensationalist media, has made it difficult for researchers to engage in rigorous, objective analysis. A lack of consensus within the research community further complicates the pursuit of scientific understanding. For now, The mysterious sightings near the sun and the diverse theories attempting to explain them reflect humanity's enduring fascination with the cosmos and the possibility of life and technology beyond our own. While definitive answers remain elusive, the ongoing investigation serves as a powerful reminder of our innate desire to explore the unknown and unravel the deepest mysteries of the universe. Astronomers have encountered a barrier at the heart of the Milky Way galaxy. The center of our home galaxy, located 26,000 light-years from Earth in the constellation Sagittarius, has always been an enigmatic place. It is a densely packed stellar metropolis, boasting 1 million more stars per light-year than anywhere else in our solar system's vicinity. But a recent discovery suggests it is even stranger than we ever dreamed. This finding emerged from a study by the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Nanjing, which revealed a phenomenon that seems to be blocking the fastest-moving particles in the universe from reaching the galactic core. The team used gamma rays, the fastest, most energetic form of light, produced when high-speed cosmic rays collide with ordinary matter, to map the region. While invisible to the naked eye, these rays allow scientists to trace the paths and density of the universe's most energetic particles. What they found was baffling. As they approached the galactic center, something was accelerating these particles to velocities approaching the speed of light. This created a tremendous abundance of gamma rays just outside the core. Yet, for reasons that defy current understanding, these rays do not penetrate into the very center of the galaxy. The fact that the universe's fastest particles are being stopped at the threshold is bewildering. Researchers have dubbed this phenomenon the invisible barrier. The leading theory suggests a region of incredibly dense magnetic fields surrounds a galactic center, so potent that even cosmic rays struggle to breach it. For now, this is the best explanation available. But the mystery of this cosmic barrier at the Milky Way's heart promises to fuel fascinating research for years to come. In the grand timeline of the cosmos, an age of 2 million years makes a star an infant. V830 Tauri is one such stellar newborn, a star with a mass comparable to Jupiter's and a circular orbit lasting 4.93 days. What fascinates astronomers, however, are its sporadic and intermittent radio emissions, detected at 6 and 8.4 gigahertz. While it is not unusual for magnetized exoplanets to emit radio waves, this marks the first time such emissions have been detected from a planetary system outside our own solar system, emanating from the region around the star itself. This has made V830 Tauri a prime target for scientists eager to understand the complex interactions between a young star and its planets. Researchers at institutions like Harvard are constructing sophisticated models to simulate the environment around V830 Tauri, studying variables like the powerful winds flowing from the newborn host star. Their findings are complex, revolving around stellar radiance, emissions, and polar magnetic fields. For these radio signals to reach Earth, having passed through the host star's winds, the magnetic field of V830 Tauri and any nearby planets must be extraordinarily powerful, between 1.3 and 13 Gauss. They have also estimated thermal conditions based on stellar wind factors, planetary radius, and orbital distance thought to be about 6.1 stellar radii. This discovery is particularly significant because giant planets in tight orbits have recently been found around other young, hot stars. As a member of this youthful class, V830 Tauri offers a rare window into the chaotic early stages of solar system formation and planetary migration, exciting astronomers with potential to unravel the secrets of how new worlds are born. In September 2002, a Sentinel's eye spotted something new in the ancient dance of orbital mechanics. An odd object, no more than 60 feet long, was seen circling our planet, rotating once every minute. The first to identify it was astronomer Bill Young, who discovered it on September 3rd and designated it J002E3, as it had gone unnoticed by automated asteroid surveys. According to NASA scientist Paul Chodas, the object could not have been in orbit prior to that date. Their networks would have detected it. Yet, Chodas confirmed it did not match any known spacecraft launched around that time. Simply put, NASA scientists were baffled. A 10-minute footage of J002E3 was captured by Andrea Leti at the Schiaparelli Astronomical Observatory in Italy, revealing its orbit around the Taurus constellation and a brightness that pulsed with its rotation. Images show the object in conflicting ways, deepening the mystery. Alien enthusiasts were quick to claim it was a UFO, a theory Chodos wryly refuted by stating, if it is an alien spaceship, the aliens aren't good pilots. J002E3 was in a chaotic, unstable orbit. It looped around Earth roughly every 48 days, its path carrying it as close as the moon and as far as twice that distance. There was no evidence it was moving under its own power. It seemed entirely at the mercy of orbital gravity from the sun and moon. Bill Young's initial hypothesis was that Earth had captured a new temporary moon, a small asteroid, a perfectly logical assumption. But that idea was shattered when astronomers made a critical discovery. The object's surface reflected light in a way that matched the specific paint used on Apollo-era rockets from the 1970s. This suggested J002E3 was not an asteroid, but a relic from the dawn of space exploration, an old Apollo rocket stage, lost for decades. But this raised a profound question. Where had it been for over 30 years? Chodos traced its motion backwards in time, concluding it had been orbiting the sun. I've never seen anything like this, he admitted. The leading candidate was a piece of the Apollo 14 mission, but upon investigation, every component of that mission was accounted for, either returned to Earth or deliberately crashed on the moon. J002E3 did not fit. Chodos suggested an outside chance. It could be a panel from a spacecraft's lunar module adapter, though the object was unusually bright for such a fragment. The mystery then turned to Apollo 12 from 1969. Its SIVB rocket stage was supposed to be sent into solar orbit, but the burn lasted too long, stranding it in a volatile path between the Earth and Moon, a fate eerily similar to J002E3's chaotic dance. Chodos predicted the object would eventually break free of Earth's grip, and in June of 2003, it did. But this is not the end of the story. Calculations indicate this ghost from the early space age is destined to return, its chaotic path likely bringing it back into our neighborhood around the 2040s. On the 13th of October, 2025, NASA took a silent, yet monumental, step. It was an action born not of public spectacle, but of deepening concern within the global scientific fraternity. Without fanfare or press release, the agency activated a series of planetary defense protocols. The trigger? Strange, inexplicable light behavior emanating from the interstellar visitor known as 3I/Atlas. What had begun as a simple tracking of an unusual comet had escalated into one of the most compelling and mysterious astronomical dramas of our time. For months, scientists had kept a close watch on Atlas as it carved its path in the depths of interstellar space. Initially classified as a comet, it soon began to defy all expectations, displaying traits that baffled the experts. Its trajectory, its brightness, the very patterns of its reflected light, all shifted in ways that normal physics and solar interactions could not explain. The situation intensified to a new level when instruments recorded pulses of light emanating from the object's core. These were not random flickers. Some analysts claimed they followed structured, repeating patterns. In response, NASA, in concert with the International Asteroid Warning Network, IWN, made an unprecedented move. They quietly classified Atlas as an official planetary defense concern. This marked the first time in recorded history that an interstellar object had been added to the global monitoring list maintained by this United Nations-endorsed coalition, the very group tasked with guarding Earth from potential impact threats. The IAWN is a global alliance of space agencies, observatories, and research institutions. Its mission is to coordinate the defense of our planet, from identifying hazardous objects to developing strategies to deflect them. The inclusion of Atlas in its tracking roster was a sobering milestone, a signal that humanity's relationship with objects from beyond our solar system had entered a new, uncertain chapter. Officials stated the action was necessary due to the object's profoundly unpredictable behavior, creating unique challenges for calculating its future path. But it was the object's physical characteristics that truly unsettled researchers. Observations revealed what has been termed an anti-tail, a jet of luminous material pointing toward the sun, not away from it. This bizarre configuration violates the fundamental behavior of comets, whose tails are always sculpted by solar radiation pushing dust and gas outward. The anti-tail suggested that Atlas might be generating its own energy through a mechanism science cannot yet name. In response, The IAWN announced a coordinated global training exercise scheduled to run from the 27th of November 2025 to the 27th of January 2026. For 2 months, observatories across the globe, from the Mauna Kea summit in Hawaii to the high deserts of Chile and research telescopes scattered throughout Asia, would synchronize their systems, training their collective gaze upon Atlas. The official reason was to improve astrometric precision, the fine art of measuring an object's position in space. Yet, the sheer scale of this mobilization suggested to many independent researchers that something far more significant was underway. Social media platforms buzzed with unease. One user noted, "When every telescope from Monaco to Chile is synced on one object, that's not a drill." Another observed that when space agencies frame global coordination as a training exercise, often means they are preparing for an unexpected development. Adding to the intrigue was NASA's official silence. When pressed by journalists from international outlets, the agency declined to comment, citing an ongoing government shutdown in Washington, D.C. This vacuum of information only deepened public suspicion, especially as other organizations like the European Space Agency and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency openly confirmed their participation. NASA insisted no rockets were being prepared and that this was not an emergency, but rather an educational event to encourage amateur astronomers. Few were convinced, noting that such a global defense drill would not be mobilized without a credible underlying concern. The timing itself was ominous. Atlas is now approaching its closest pass to the Sun, a period when comets typically become more volatile and bright. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, known for his bold interpretations of interstellar phenomena, has proposed a radical alternative. Atlas may not be a comet at all, but sophisticated craft utilizing the Sun's gravity to alter its course through a maneuver known as the Oberth effect. This effect occurs when a spacecraft fires its engines at the perihelion, the point in its orbit closest to a massive body like the Sun. The technique allows for immense acceleration with minimal energy, a key for practical interstellar travel. Loeb notes that Atlas is perfectly positioned for such a maneuver. Within a week, it will come within approximately 126 million miles of the Sun, a prime window for an Oberth acceleration. If his interpretation is correct, it would mean Atlas is under intelligent control, perhaps an interstellar probe, or even a colossal mothership. In his latest analysis, Loeb estimated the object diameter at over 28 meters, large enough to house internal systems. He theorizes that if it is a vessel, it will use the Sun's gravity to slingshot itself back out into the void. Further evidence for the craft hypothesis came from earlier Hubble Space Telescope images, which captured a peculiar glow around Atlas that did not match simple sunlight reflection. This light appeared to be internally generated, suggesting a nuclear or fusion-based power source, technology far beyond our own. Then, on the 3rd of October, as the object passed near Mars, several space probes captured detailed imagery. The photographs revealed a massive cylindrical structure with distinct metallic green sheen, possibly from a nickel-based coating, a material humans use to withstand the extreme heat of rocketry. The resemblance to engineered materials has fueled intense speculation that Atlas is an artifact of extraterrestrial origin. Some theorists believe it could be one of a fleet of interstellar probes mapping habitable worlds. Others suspect a more observational purpose, a sentinel gathering data on humanity's technological progress. Whatever its true nature, Atlas has forced a global reevaluation of our preparedness. The IAWN's classification and the ensuing observation drills are not merely about tracking precision. They are a test of our response to a deep space anomaly. Some within the scientific community have even speculated that the odd light emissions may be a form of encoded signal, with earlier reports suggesting pulses follow the Fibonacci sequence, a mathematical pattern deeply embedded in nature. If deliberate, this could signify an attempt at communication. As Atlas continues its fiery approach, it has become the focus of one of the most intense international observation campaigns in history. This synchronized effort demonstrates both humanity's growing vigilance and its profound uncertainty in the face of the unknown. Whether Atlas is an alien craft, a new type of celestial body, or a cosmic anomaly, it has already irrevocably altered our perspective. The data gathered in the coming months may provide answers, or it may deepen the mystery. But one thing is certain. NASA's quiet activation of planetary defense protocols was not an overreaction. It was a precaution born of humanity's oldest and most vital instinct, the will to survive. The exploration of Mars has long been a quest to unravel the secrets of a world both familiar and alien, with each new discovery peeling back layers of its mysterious past. Among the countless images beamed back by robotic pioneers, one photograph from NASA's Curiosity rover has ignited the imagination of scientists and the public alike. The apparent sighting of what looks eerily like an ammonite fossil. The image was captured by the rover's mass cam and subsequently released to the public. In the stark Martian landscape, partially embedded in the ruddy rock, lies a small coiled object. Its spiral shape and segmented chambers bear a striking, haunting resemblance to the fossilized shells of terrestrial ammonites, the extinct marine mollusks that once dominated Earth's oceans for hundreds of millions of years. The implications of a potential ammonite fossil on Mars are staggering. On Earth, these fossils are indelible markers of ancient seas and thriving ecosystems. Their presence on a red planet would suggest that Mars was not only once home to substantial, long-lasting bodies of liquid water, but that it may have also been a habitable world capable of supporting complex life. However, the interpretation of the object as a fossil is hotly debated. Skeptics offer alternative explanations. It could be a concretion, a mineral deposit that formed in a spherical shape within sedimentary rock, or simply a wind-sculpted rock formation that, by chance, mimics a biological form. The unforgiving Martian environment is a master of creating illusions. Despite these rational counterpoints, the discovery underscores the critical importance of continued Martian exploration. Over the past decade, rovers and orbiters have painted a compelling portrait of a wetter, warmer, ancient Mars, revealing dried riverbeds, vast lake basins, and even potential hot springs. These findings build a case for a world where the conditions for life may have once existed. The potential ammonite fossil, whether geological or biological, highlights the profound significance of astrobiology. The search for life beyond Earth is, in part, a search for our own place in the cosmos. By studying the geology and potential biology of Mars, we are not just learning about a neighboring planet. We are seeking to understand the universal principles of life itself. The quest for water on Mars is a tale of evolving understanding. For years, the planet was viewed as a bone-dry desert, but a cascade of evidence now reveals a world once shaped by ancient waters. The presence of so-called Martian blueberries, small, hematite-rich spherules, was an early clue, as such formations on Earth often require liquid water to form. The first major hints of a watery past are etched into the planet's very surface. Scientists assert that the massive basin-like crater scarring Mars could only have been formed by deep, standing water that persisted for eons. Winding across the landscape are indented channels, their deep grooves testifying to persistent flow of running water, carving pathways over immense periods. This confirms that Mars was once a world of many lakes, rivers, and perhaps even vast oceans. Further evidence lies in the soil itself, which has been found to contain significant amounts of hydrogen, a strong indicator of water molecules, suggesting that vast reserves of water ice may still lie hidden beneath the surface. NASA rovers have also discovered rocks that resemble concrete slabs, with one side eroded and the other perfectly smooth. Scientists affirm that running water is the most likely sculptor. Perhaps the most definitive proof is the ice we can see today. Rovers and orbiters have identified glaciers and subsurface ice deposits. The current Martian climate is far too cold to support liquid water on the surface, but in 2018, a landmark discovery was made, a subglacial lake, roughly 20 kilometers across, representing the first known stable body of liquid water on modern Mars. This collective evidence has led scientists to a positive consensus. Running water once existed on Mars in great volume. The Curiosity rover's mission was, in part, to confirm this very hypothesis, and it has succeeded. This confirmation reshapes our entire understanding of the planet, opening new, fundamental questions about its history. If water was present for long enough, Mars could have been a habitable world. Water is the essential ingredient for life as we know it, and the revelation that Mars once possessed it is a transformative step in our cosmic journey. Physicists have theorized several ominous-sounding ends for our universe: the Big Rip, the Heat Death, and the Big Crunch. But one of the most fascinating hypothetical demises is vacuum decay. To understand this, we must first venture into the Higgs field, an invisible energy field that permeates every corner of the universe, much like an electric field. The strength of this field is determined by its potential energy. Central to this is the Higgs boson, the fundamental particle associated with the field, proposed in 1964 and confirmed in 2012, earning its discoverers a Nobel Prize. The shape of this field's potential tells us whether our universe is in a true vacuum, the most stable, lowest energy state, or a false vacuum. Our universe, it seems, is in a false vacuum state, metastable. It's not actively decaying, but it's not perfectly stable either, like a ball resting in a small dip on the side of a much larger hill. This precarious position presents two terrifying possibilities. First, a high-energy event could tip a small region of the universe from the false vacuum into the true vacuum. This would create a bubble of true vacuum that would expand in all directions at the speed of light, rewriting the fundamental laws of physics as it goes, an event that would be instantly lethal. Second, the universe could simply tunnel through the energy barrier into the lower state via quantum effects. This is not merely philosophical dread. Measurements of the Higgs boson indicate our vacuum is indeed metastable. Yet, there is a silver lining of cosmic proportions. The predicted lifetime of a metastable universe is vastly longer than the current age of our cosmos. The doom is theoretical, but the timeline offers profound, if not infinite, reprieve. Exoplanets are, by definition, worlds that orbit stars other than our sun. But recent studies suggest a more bizarre reality. Some planets may orbit supermassive black holes instead. Evidence indicates that the gravitational titan at the center of the galaxy can capture and hold planets in its sway, and this may be a common phenomenon. The theory goes even further. These starless planets can actually form around black holes. While black holes are known for their voracious appetites, they can also host vast, stable rings of gas and dust extending up to 30 light-years away. Just as planets form from the protoplanetary disk of material around a young star, scientists theorize that the dense clouds around a supermassive black hole could collapse under gravity to form planets. These black hole-born worlds would be colossal, perhaps 10 times the mass of Earth, and could be giant balls of ice or rock. Crucially, because they would form light years away from the black hole itself, their surfaces would not be subjected to its extreme, spaghettifying gravity. Researchers at the University of Kagoshima in Japan estimate that tens of thousands of these lone wanderers could be orbiting the supermassive black hole at the center of our own Milky Way. The search for extraterrestrial life need not stretch across the galaxy. Our nearest stellar neighbor may be hiding secrets of its own. A surprising discovery has been made around Proxima Centauri, the smallest star in the Alpha Centauri system, located just over 4 light-years away. Findings published in Astronomy and Astrophysics reveal a third planet in this compact system, dubbed Proxima d. This tiny world is a record holder. It orbits incredibly close to its host star. Its orbital distance is 1/10 that of Mercury's from our Sun. It completes a full orbit in just 5 days, while its siblings Proxima b and c take 11 days and 5 years, respectively. With a mass barely a quarter of Earth's, it is one of the lightest exoplanets ever found. The discovery was made using the Espresso instrument on the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope. The detection of such a small world is a monumental technical achievement. As Dr. Pedro Figueira, an astronomer with the ESO, stated, it shows that the radial velocity technique has the potential to unveil a population of light planets, like our own, that are expected to be the most abundant in our galaxy, and that can potentially host life as we know it. In 2006, the Hubble Space Telescope, with its ultra-sensitive advanced camera for surveys, solved a long-standing mystery. After a 33-minute-long exposure, it revealed the true nature of a faint object 3,000 light-years away in the constellation Pegasus. Not a galaxy, but perfect cosmic spiral surrounding the star AFGL 3068. This was unprecedented. The only spirals known in space were galaxies. This structure is something entirely different. It is a binary star system where 2 stars are locked in a slow 800-year orbital dance. The first is a red giant carbon star. The second, a blue-white star, orbits at a distance about twice that from our Sun to Pluto. The spirals themselves are a celestial fingerprint. The red giant is steadily shedding its outer layers, rich in carbon. This material condenses into fine, black dust. As the two stars orbit one another, the dust is sculpted by their motion into a vast, expanding spiral, a beautiful and fleeting testament to the intricate clockwork of the cosmos. In what many are now calling one of the most baffling meteorological events ever documented, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a terse announcement. The Himawari 9, a state-of-the-art geostationary weather satellite, had fallen silent. Officials described it as a sudden communication failure. Yet, in the final moments before the satellite's voice was severed, it managed to transmit a sequence of images that has since ignited a firestorm of speculation among researchers and the public alike. The images revealed a sight of staggering scale and strangeness, a series of massive, energy-like wave patterns radiating outward from the heart of Antarctica and stretching thousands of miles across the Indian Ocean toward Australia. These rippling concentric arcs, visible across the very fabric of the atmosphere, span more than 6,000 miles, an extraordinary and unsettling vision. The Himawari 9 satellite, a sentinel designed to monitor the Asia-Pacific region, had long been a pillar of reliability, transmitting detailed atmospheric images every few minutes. Its purpose was to track cloud formations, air pressure, and radiation. But its final frames revealed something entirely outside its programming. Instead of the familiar flow of weather systems, the data showed vast, dark, and light bands, like ripples from a stone thrown into a planetary pond, emanating from the frozen continent and pulsing northward. These enormous rings formed and expanded within minutes, as if colossal bursts of energy, originating deep within or beneath the southern pole, had propagated through the sky. When meteorologists examined the imagery, they found no corresponding events, no massive storms, no volcanic eruptions, no significant seismic activity that could account for such perfectly symmetrical, wave-like structures. The fact that the satellite ceased transmission immediately after capturing this phenomenon has led many to wonder if the event itself was the cause of the failure. The scale was almost incomprehensible, an atmospheric disturbance spanning a significant portion of the southern hemisphere. The patterns displayed an almost geometric precision that some described as resembling the interference patterns of a powerful energy discharge. Unlike the gradual evolution of weather, this anomaly appeared in a single observation frame, a sudden, violent imprint on the sky that faded just as quickly. Scientists at the Australian Bureau of Meteorology added a critical piece of the puzzle. Their own instruments detected powerful disturbances in the upper atmosphere at precisely the same time. The readings pointed to violent fluctuations in energy or pressure, something potent enough to send ripples across the southern skies. The synchronized timing between these ground-based anomalies and the satellite's failure has raised an alarming possibility that both were victims of the same unseen source. A battle of theories ensued. Some meteorologists proposed a technical glitch, an artifact of the imaging process caused by solar radiation or magnetic interference. Yet this explanation crumbled under scrutiny. Other satellites operating concurrently showed no such distortion. Others suggested a real atmospheric disturbance, perhaps a violent shift in the polar vortex or a catastrophic release of subglacial energy. A growing chorus of independent researchers, however, noted the pattern's uncanny resemblance to massive electromagnetic interference. This has fueled speculation that the waves originated from a concentrated point deep within Antarctica, a continent shrouded in mystery and largely unexplored beneath its miles-thick ice. For years, seismic sensors have occasionally registered strange, powerful pulses from beneath the polar region, often dismissed as geological noise. If these atmospheric ripples were connected, it could point to something far more significant stirring below. The visual evidence is undeniable. In one of the clearest frames, the Australian continent lies beneath a series of perfectly curved, evenly spaced lines, as if immense, invisible waves of force were moving through the atmosphere. To any trained observer, the symmetry is too precise, too organized to be the work of random weather. The Japan Meteorological Agency confirmed that communication with Himawari 9 was lost at the exact moment these images were captured. Engineers have struggled to restore full functionality, and no definitive cause for the disruption has been offered. This official silence has only deepened the mystery. feeding theories that the satellite was disabled by the same energy surge it recorded. For many, this incident echoes a troubling pattern. Satellites monitoring Earth or the Sun capturing unexplained anomalies just before suffering critical data interruptions. Some believe these are not coincidences, but evidence of powerful, unrecognized bursts of energy, be they natural, technological, or something else entirely. Antarctica has always been a vault of secrets. From unexplained geothermal heat detected beneath the ice to zones restricted from even scientific expeditions, it remains a frontier of the unknown. The sudden appearance of massive wave formations radiating from its center raises a profound possibility that something deep within the continent, be it a geological force or something else, has become active. Across online forums and research communities, the event has become a focal point. Some theorize it was a test of advanced energy or radar technology. Others propose a natural but rare atmospheric resonance, a planetary-scale harmonic. A few venture further, suggesting an interaction between Earth's magnetic field and an external energy source. Whatever the cause, one stark fact remains. These patterns were captured, verified, and observed across multiple timestamp frames just before a major satellite went blind. The coincidence is too significant for even the most ardent skeptics to dismiss. The scientific community continues to examine the fragments of data that remain, but the original feed from Himawari 9 is gone, lost in the communication outage. The agency has stated the satellite's backup systems are stable, yet no new imagery from that region has been released. This void of information has only amplified global curiosity, leaving the world to wonder if the full truth will ever be known. For now, the mystery hangs in the air, as unresolved as the date appeared. A series of concentric energy waves, spanning from the bottom of the world to the shores of Australia, were seen by millions, preserved in screenshots and archived data before vanishing along with the eye that saw them. Whether the cause was a freak of nature, a hidden technology, or a force beyond our current understanding, the incident stands as a stark reminder how little we truly know about the powerful, hidden dynamics of our own planet. The narrative of Earth's history is being rewritten, and the new chapters speak of cataclysm. For decades, researcher Randall Carlson has been a leading voice arguing that our planet's past was shaped not by slow, gradual change, but by moments of violent, transformative chaos. A pivotal piece of evidence for this theory emerged from an unexpected source, once classified Russian geological records, which revealed the staggering story of the Altai flood. Until recently, the most famous example of a megaflood was the Missoula floods of the Pacific Northwest, a theory pioneered by geologist J. Harlan Bretz in the 1920s. He proposed that a colossal glacial lake had burst its ice dam, unleashing a deluge that scoured the landscape of Washington state. His ideas were initially met with derision, but time and evidence proved him right. What few in the West knew was that a flood of similar, if not greater, magnitude had occurred simultaneously on the other side of the world, in the Altai Mountains of southern Siberia. According to the Russian record studied by Carlson, the Altai flood was a cataclysm of almost biblical proportions at the end of the last ice age. As glaciers retreated, they left behind massive dammed lakes, like the conjoined Chuya and Karai lakes, holding an estimated 600 cubic kilometers of water. When the ice dams finally failed, they unleashed a torrent of unimaginable power. At its peak, the Altai flood may have reached a flow rate of 800 million cubic feet per second. The landscape still bears the scars of this violence. The most dramatic are the giant current ripples in the Karai Basin. These are not the gentle ripples of a stream bed, but massive gravel waves up to 18 meters high and 225 meters from crest to crest, a topography sculpted by forces far beyond any modern river. Further downstream, giant sedimentary bars rise as much as 300 meters above the current levels of the Chuya and Katun rivers, stretching for up to 5 kilometers. These colossal deposits, shaped by powerful eddies and currents, are monuments to the flood's raw power. In some places, these natural dams have blocked tributaries, creating lakes that persist to this day, a permanent legacy of a single catastrophic event. For Carlson, the implications are profound. The Altai flood is not an isolated curiosity, but a key piece in a global puzzle. He and others posit that this event, alongside the Missoula floods and others, points to a pattern of synchronous, cataclysmic flooding between 12,000 and 14,000 years ago. This theory challenges a cornerstone of gradual geology, suggesting instead that Earth's history is punctuated by abrupt, planet-altering events, potentially triggered by rapid climate shifts or even cosmic impacts. The discovery of the Altai flood, hidden for decades behind geopolitical walls, serves as a powerful reminder that our understanding of the past is fragmented and incomplete. It forces a re-examination of the forces that have shaped our world and suggests that the ground beneath our feet holds stories of destruction and renewal on a scale we are only beginning to comprehend. This theme of cyclical cataclysm finds a more ominous and secretive voice in The Adam and Eve Story, a book by Dr. Chan Thomas. Declassified by the CIA in partial, heavily redacted form, the text puts forth a terrifying thesis. Earth is subject to a near-clockwork cycle of cataclysms, recurring roughly every 6,500 years, which annihilate advanced civilizations and force humanity to begin again. First published in 1966, the book was quickly acquired and classified by the CIA, removed from public view for decades. The few dozen pages eventually released are streaked with black redaction bars, raising more questions than they answer. The central, unredacted claim is that these events are natural, cyclical phenomena involving pole shifts, mass extinctions, and crustal displacement. Dr. Thomas, an electrical engineer and psychic who worked on advanced aerospace projects, proposed a mechanism far more violent than gradual magnetic wandering. He theorized that a drastic change in Earth's electromagnetic fields could cause the planet's crust to momentarily become viscous, sliding over the molten interior. This crustal displacement could reposition continents in a matter of hours, unleashing earthquakes, volcanic firestorms, and tsunamis that would scour the planet clean. This idea of a shifting pole has a controversial history. While scientists acknowledge that magnetic poles migrate, the mainstream view holds the process to be slow. The concept of rapid catastrophic shift was popularized in the mid-20th century by Charles Hapgood, who intriguingly received support from none other than Albert Einstein. Thomas's work takes Hapgood's theory to its most extreme conclusion, envisioning a day-long apocalypse. He argues that the great flood myths found in cultures across the globe are not mere allegories, but fragmented historical records of these very events, ancestral memories of civilizations being drowned and reset. The repeated pattern of rise and collapse in human history, from the Sumerians and Egyptians to the Romans and Mayans, is seen by proponents of this theory not as a result of mere social or economic factors, but as evidence of this built-in expiration date for civilization. Whether one views Thomas's work as prescient warning or fringe speculation, its suppression by a powerful intelligence agency lends an undeniable aura of intrigue. It forces a confronting question. Does humanity operate on a cyclical timer, with our modern global civilization simply awaiting its turn in a recurring cycle of creation and destruction? The declassified, redacted pages of the Adam and Eve story offer no definitive answers, but they cast a long and unsettling shadow over our perceived place in history. On a silent sentinel, positioned in the void between Earth and Sun, hangs the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, a joint venture of NASA and the European Space Agency. Its mission since the mid-1990s has been one of pure science, to study the Sun's outer atmosphere, to monitor the solar wind, and to warn our planet of the coronal mass ejections that could cripple our technology. But within its vast archive of data, there are ghosts in the machine, anomalies that defy simple explanation. One such image has become the subject of intense scrutiny. It shows the sun in all its ferocious glory, a maelstrom of golden fire where magnetic loops twist and superheated plasma erupts in violent arcs. And there, poised just beyond this inferno, hangs a massive, disc-shaped object. It is not a blur, not a smudge. It is smooth, perfectly symmetrical, and sharply defined against the absolute black of space. In a realm of chaotic energy, this object possesses a serene, unnatural uniformity, as if forged by design, not chance. The disk seems to generate or reflect its own light, holding its form against the sun's all-consuming radiance. This is what makes the sighting so profound. The solar environment here is one of extremes. Temperatures soar to millions of degrees, and radiation levels that would vaporize any known human material. Yet, The object remains utterly unaffected, a bastion of stability in the storm. To endure such proximity, it would require technology or materials so far beyond our understanding that many researchers point to the single frame as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for an artificial structure near our star. Analysts who have studied the sequence suggest the object appeared suddenly. One theory posits that a massive electromagnetic outburst from a solar flare may have momentarily disrupted a cloaking or shielding mechanism, briefly revealing the object's true outline. Another, more daring, idea is that it moved into frame intentionally, emerging from the void to position itself near the sun for a purpose we can only guess. The concept is not without precedent in theoretical science. If an advanced civilization had mastered stellar engineering, it might dispatch enormous vessels to harness a star's energy. In this light, the disk could be a collector, a form of solar technology on a scale so vast it dwarfs human imagination. Some have drawn parallels to the theoretical Dyson sphere, a megastructure built to capture a star's total energy output. This is far from an isolated case. Over the years, SOHO and its sister observatory, the Solar Dynamics Observatory, have recorded a menagerie of geometric anomalies, spheres, cubes, and elongated cylinders appearing in the sun's vicinity. Some appear to move with clear intent, shifting position between frames in a way that defies the behavior of random debris. Their consistent symmetry and persistence have convinced a growing number of observers that these are not glitches, but evidence of purposeful activity in one of the most hostile environments imaginable. Official explanations have long pointed to pixel errors, cosmic rays, or internal lens reflections. And while many anomalies can be dismissed as such, the precision and structural integrity of objects like this disk keep the debate alive. The human brain is prone to pareidolia, seeing patterns in randomness, but the near-perfect circular outline, the strategic placement, and the object's self-illumination distinguish it from mere noise. Crucially, the object appears across multiple frames, captured minutes apart. This persistence suggests a sustained presence or controlled motion. Its sharp contrast against the background implies it is a physical entity within the telescope's field of view, not an artifact within the optics themselves. The implications are staggering. If this object is real, then humanity is witnessing a technology that operates in a forge of stellar fire. Its proximity to the sun suggests it is studying, harvesting, or monitoring the star. It could be an autonomous probe, a surveillance device, or a power station. The sun, with its immense energy and powerful gravitational field, would be a logical hub for any advanced intelligence, a perfect source of power and a brilliant cloak against prying eyes. Even more intriguing are claims that some of these objects appear to move in sync with solar flares and ejections, as if interacting with the star's activity. They may be stabilizing plasma, harvesting charged particles, or manipulating energy flows for purposes we cannot fathom. This particular image is compelling because of its clarity. The disk is not ambiguous. It appears distinctly mechanical, with a luminous rim and a darker central region, leading some to describe it as an enormous wheel or craft. Based on its proximity to the sun, estimates suggest that if it is a physical object, it could be several times larger than Earth. For those in the field of alternative astronomy, this sighting confirms a long-held suspicion. Our solar system is not a lonely outpost. These structures could be beacons, refueling stations, or observational posts for civilizations far older than our own. As more solar data becomes public, analysts scrutinize every frame, believing these glimpses may be pieces of a larger puzzle, a revelation that the cosmos is teeming with intelligence and that our understanding of reality is on the verge of profound transformation. In the heart of Mexico City, the sky recently told a story that defied explanation. A mysterious object, filmed in the clear light of day, hovered silently above the sprawling metropolis. The footage, now ricocheting across social media and investigative forums, shows a disc-shaped object from which long, tendril-like appendages dangle, an appearance so distinct witnesses could only describe it as a jellyfish. This was no blurry, distant light. It was an unnervingly clear and detailed structure, and its passage was met with deafening silence from every major news network, fueling immediate suspicions of a cover-up. Eyewitnesses, stunned by the silent, slow-moving apparition, fumbled for their phones. The resulting videos were a rarity in UFO research. Crisp, stable and detailed. The main body was a defined disc, but it was a peculiar, trailing appendages that captured the imagination, creating an undeniable likeness to a jellyfish floating not in the sea, but in the sky. Mexico City is no stranger to unexplained aerial events, having been a hotspot for decades. But the utter lack of mainstream coverage following such a clear and widely witnessed event was, to many, more telling than the object itself. That deliberate omission suggested an active suppression of information, an effort to control a narrative that was becoming too visible to ignore. The jellyfish UFO is a recurring archetype in global sightings. From the remote forests of Siberia in the 1980s, where witnesses reported a pulsating, humming craft with beams of light reaching for the ground, to the outskirts of Moscow in 2014 and a rural Chinese village in 2018. The descriptions are eerily consistent. A domed, often translucent body, trailing luminous tendrils, moving with a silent, fluid grace that defies conventional aerodynamics. The Mexico City footage, however, is considered by researchers to be the most vivid and detailed capture of this phenomenon to date. The clarity has ignited fierce debate about its nature. Some propose the tendrils are part of an advanced propulsion system, manipulating gravity or energy fields in a way unknown to our science. Others venture into more speculative territory, wondering if the object represents a blend of biology and technology, a living mechanism perhaps, and not a craft in any conventional sense. The official silence is a pattern familiar to those who study this phenomenon. Governments have a long history of obfuscation when it comes to unidentified aerial phenomena. The recent declassification of U.S. military videos merely acknowledged the existence of the unexplained without providing answers. In the case of the Mexico City jellyfish, the absence of commentary suggests that those in authority either have no explanation or are deeply reluctant to draw public attention to something they do not understand. Amid this silence, amateur analysts have taken up the task, enhancing frames and tracing its trajectory. The more the footage is examined, the more profound the questions become. Why hover over one of the world's most populous cities? What was its purpose? We are living through a paradigm shift. As civilian-owned technology becomes capable of capturing high-quality evidence in real time, the power to investigate the unexplained is shifting from institutions to the public. The jellyfish UFO over Mexico City may have been ignored by the evening news, but has been etched into the consciousness of millions. Its distinct form, its haunting visibility, and the wall of official silence surrounding it have fused to create a modern mystery, a silent challenge thrown down from the skies, demanding to be solved. Behold the Chronicle of Kin, a saga that has seized the globe's imagination from its very first chapter. The claim of a meteorite discovered in Panama, harboring a substance entirely alien to this world. What began as the unsettling vision of a shifting black mass has now erupted into one of the most extraordinary accounts of potential extraterrestrial life ever brought into the public eye. In his latest video, released mere hours ago, Ken has unveiled footage so astonishing it has not only raised the stakes, but has plunged the mystery into terrifying new depths. This new recording has gone supernova, drawing millions of viewers into a frame-by-frame analysis, each one searching for the elusive truth of his discovery. The video opens on the now familiar black mass, the centerpiece of Ken's updates for weeks. But this is no longer the amorphous, gelatinous substance of before. Now it pulses with movement that is deliberate, structured, and undeniably organic. Viewers watched, breath held, as a tentacle-like extension pushed its way out from the central body of the entity. This was no vague ripple. It was a defined appendage, sinuous and purposeful, culminating in what appeared to be a small, articulated claw. The defining moment, the one that silenced many skeptics, came when this limb reached toward a nearby object and lifted it. For countless observers, this was the undeniable proof. The creature is not only alive, but possesses a cognizant intelligence, capable of interacting with its surroundings. The reaction was instantaneous and electric. Those convinced of the discovery's authenticity pointed to the entity's rhythmic, breathing-like motions, its central mass rising and falling, as if drawing air, suggesting the formation of lungs or some unknown respiratory system. Others noted with awe that the black substance itself had visibly expanded, growing larger with each passing day, as if feeding and developing in real time. The notion that an extraterrestrial organism is maturing before our very eyes has left many in a state of rapturous shock, while others confess to a deep, primal unease. What has captivated the world most profoundly is the organism's apparent self-construction. Earlier updates showed chaotic branching patterns, a goose stretching outward with no clear design. Now, those extensions are solidifying, taking on defined shapes that eerily resemble articulated arms and jointed legs. In this latest footage, sections of the creature possess distinct angles and structures. It is as if we are witnessing a biological assembly line, a formless proto-being sculpting itself into a recognizable, living entity right in front of the camera. If true, this represents one of the most breathtaking biological transformations ever documented. The implications are staggering. If Ken has indeed captured proof of a life form from beyond Earth, then humanity is witnessing the first public, tangible evidence of alien biology. For scientists, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For the ordinary viewer, the sight of this creature moving, breathing, and now growing limbs evokes a potent cocktail of awe and dread. Awe, for the answer to the ancient question, we are not alone. Dread, because this entity is evolving here on our planet in its full capabilities. Its intentions remain a terrifying unknown. The footage also ignites urgent questions of control. Ken himself has voiced fears of attempts to seize the entity. His decision to imprison it within a locked safe was initially seen as a prudent precaution, but now, with a display of defined limbs and dexterous manipulation, the tension has become a palpable force. Followers of the story now question whether it is safe for any human to possess such a thing, or shadowy authorities will soon intervene, snatching this historic discovery from public view forever. Emotions are fractured. Some are filled with transcendent wonder, feeling they are witnesses to a historic pivot point for all of humanity. Others are deeply unsettled by the image of an unknown, growing organism, possibly intelligent, locked in a safe in a private home. The prospect of this entity gaining strength and dexterity fuels a visceral fear that the situation is a ticking clock, poised to spiral beyond any hope of control. This new evidence has also reignited the war of interpretations. The extraterrestrial camp sees definitive proof of alien life, pointing to the structured movement, respiratory motions, and functional appendages. The biological perspective emphasizes a rapid, almost explosive cellular development, a form of hyperevolution never before seen. The technological view argues this could be engineered smart matter, designed by a superior intelligence to self-assemble into a functional form. All three are amplified by Ken's latest reveal. Yet none can offer a definitive explanation. What remains undeniable is the raw, unsettling power of the images. The sight of a black, alien substance coalescing into limbs and claws and now demonstrating interaction with its environment has transfixed the planet. It challenges the very foundations of what we know about life and creation. Ken's updates have morphed into a global phenomenon, a shared vigil where curiosity and fear are intertwined. As the ND grows larger and more complex, so does the tension. The world holds its breath, waiting to see if Ken can continue his documentation, or if forces far greater than him will descend to take control of the unimaginable. The James Webb Space Telescope has done it again, peeling back a layer of our solar system to reveal a mystery that defies current science. In its latest foray, Webb has detected strange, dark beads drifting through Saturn's upper atmosphere, suspended high above the planet's famous and already mysterious hexagonal storm at the North Pole. These features, unlike any ever recorded, have baffled astronomers and ignited fierce debate about their origins. The findings, published in geophysical research letters, mark a new chapter in the study of the ring giant. Saturn has long captivated us with its brilliant rings and dynamic weather, but its most enigmatic feature is the immense hexagon, an 18,000-mile wide storm spinning ceaselessly above the pole. While the Cassini mission provided years of detailed study, the hexagon's origins remain unexplained. Now, Webb's powerful near-infrared spectrograph has revealed a new layer of complexity. Gazing into Saturn's stratosphere and ionosphere, the telescope discovered a four-armed, star-shaped pattern beneath a chain of dark, bead-like features suspended in the charged plasma. Over a 10-hour observation, researchers tracked emission from hydrogen and methane molecules, expecting uniform patterns. Instead, they found these bizarre disruptions. The ionospheric beads are vast, evenly separated, and drift slowly, resembling a chain of energy nodes or dark pearls strung across the sky. Beneath them, the asymmetric star, with its four elongated and uneven arms, suggests a dynamic and turbulent process. Professor Tom Stallard expressed the team's astonishment. They had expected broad, predictable emissions, not this intricate, hidden architecture. The most tantalizing clue is a potential link between the two phenomena. Some of the darkest beads align precisely with the strongest arms of the star, suggesting a flow of energy between atmospheric layers, a bridge connecting the ionosphere to the depths below. This could be the key to understanding how Saturn's powerful magnetosphere fuels the violent weather in its lower skies. Adding urgency is Saturn's current position. The planet is at equinox, a brief period of balanced sunlight that may be driving these changes. On September 21st, Saturn will be at its closest point to Earth, offering a critical window for observation. If these patterns shift or vanish as the sunlight changes, it could unlock the secret of their birth. The discovery of the dark beads is a humbling reminder of how much we have yet to learn. They could be regions of cool plasma, strange magnetic disturbances, or something entirely new. Decades of exploration, from Voyager to Cassini, have only deepened the mysteries. Webb's new eyes have shown us that even our celestial neighbors hold profound secrets, patterns in the sky that whisper processes beyond our current comprehension. In an event that blends the mundane with the miraculous, a storm spotter for the U.S. National Weather Service captured something that defies all standard classification. Known for his disciplined eye and methodical documentation of severe weather, this experienced observer had no intention of stumbling into one of the most unusual aerial mysteries of our time. During a routine thunderstorm observation, his camera captured a massive, perfectly spherical object, its outer shell punctuated by 6 sharp, symmetrical spikes. The object materialized in the sky amidst a fury of lightning, hung motionless for a heartbeat, then swelled in size before dissolving into the storm clouds as if it were never there. The footage, though brief, has left meteorologists and UAP researchers alike without a satisfactory answer. The spotter, who has chosen to remain anonymous, explained he was filming 1-minute segments to capture lightning strikes. By chance, he had started in standard video mode instead of his usual slow motion. After a pause to switch settings, he resumed filming and captured the impossible. Upon review, he was stunned. This was unlike any ball lightning, weather balloon, or lens flare he had ever encountered. The object was a stark, geometric silhouette against the churning thunderheads, a sphere encased in a spiked shell. Most chilling was its behavior. After a moment of silent hovering, it appeared to expand, then faded from view, as if cloaking itself or accelerating away at an impossible speed. The spotter's credibility is paramount. A trained professional, he approached the footage with a skeptic's analytical mind, consulting colleagues who were equally baffled. It lacked the chaotic motion of debris, the flicker of plasma, or the telltale signs of a camera artifact. This has fueled compelling theories. One suggests the storm itself was a power source or a cloak. For decades, reports have linked UAPs to intense electrical storms, proposing that these craft draw energy from atmospheric ionization or use the chaos as perfect camouflage. The object's spike form is itself a rarity, drawing parallels to ancient petroglyphs of star-shaped celestial beings. In the months since, the scientific establishment has remained silent. No official statement has been issued, but within the world of independent research, the video is a landmark case. Frame-by-frame analysis has confirmed its symmetry and unique light interaction, and it has withstood early attempts to debunk it as a hoax or a known phenomenon. The spiked sphere over the American heartland remains an enigma. Whether it was a vehicle from another world, a secret human craft, or a natural phenomenon yet to be named, its brief appearance is a stark reminder that our understanding of the skies above is still profoundly incomplete, and that nature's most violent moments may occasionally tear open a window to the truly unexplained. In the serene, sun-drenched countryside of Finland, 2 avid bird watchers found their routine expedition transformed into an encounter with the inexplicable. The day was tranquil, the air crisp, a perfect canvas for observing avian wonders. But their attention was snatched from the treetops by an object that defied all convention. Hovering silently just beyond the forest canopy was a gleaming, metallic entity. It possessed no wings, no propellers, no visible means of propulsion. Its most astounding characteristic, however, was its form, or rather, its lack of a single one. The object seemed to be in a constant state of flux, a shimmering mirage in the sky. One of the men, his heart pounding, fumbled to adjust his camera settings, managing to fire off a rapid sequence of photographs just in time. His companion struggled to track it on video, his lens struggling to find focus on the ever-morphing shape. They watched, utterly captivated, as the object evolved before their eyes. First a shimmering disk, then elongating into a sleek cylinder, and finally resolving into a perfect, luminous sphere. This was no trick of the light. The transformation was gradual, deliberate, and witnessed by two experienced observers of a natural world. After seizing its image, the object then shot upwards with impossible speed, vanishing into the vast blue expanse, leaving behind only a profound silence and a cascade of unanswered questions. When the images inevitably found their way online, they sparked immediate debate. The most significant detail noted by analysts was the object's shape-shifting nature. While most unidentified objects are reported to hold a steady form, this capacity for metamorphosis is a rare and compelling characteristic, one that lends a unique credibility to the witness's account. This Finnish sighting joins a global catalog of reports describing so-called shape-shifting UFOs. Military personnel, commercial pilots, and trained observers worldwide have reported objects that transition seamlessly from classic saucers to elongated cigars, luminous orbs, or even amorphous, fluid-like structures. This ability to reconfigure itself challenges the very limits of known physics, material science, and aerodynamics. These objects are consistently linked to flight characteristics that defy conventional understanding. Instantaneous acceleration, right-angle turns, and the ability to hover motionless for extended periods. The testimony of the Finnish bird watchers is not merely a story of a strange light in the sky. It is a data point in a growing body of evidence that suggests we are in the presence of technology or phenomenon that operates on principles far beyond our own. The chronicle akin has escalated into a global vigil, and today it has delivered its most startling chapter yet. In a video released mere hours ago, the man at the center of this planetary drama has provided what many are calling the most lucid and compelling evidence to date of the alien entity he discovered within a Panamanian meteorite. For weeks, a captivated audience has pleaded for clarity, for a glimpse sharp enough to pierce the veil of speculation. Now, they have been granted their wish, and the result is both mesmerizing and profoundly disquieting. The footage offers more than a mere shifting mass of black goo. It reveals a being in the act of becoming. Where earlier recordings showed only ambiguity, this video unveils terrifying specifics. Viewers' attention is immediately seized by the outline of a claw-like appendage, a defined, articulated structure that extends outward with a purpose that feels inquisitive, almost tactile. Alongside it, sharp-eyed observers have pinpointed a darkened, lens-like area that catches the camera's light, an eerie, watchful eye that seems to gaze back at the viewer, transforming the act of observation into a mutual, unsettling exchange. For countless witnesses, these are no longer ambiguous features. They are the first undeniable signatures of a living, conscious organism. Perhaps the most haunting characteristic is the entity's rhythm. A slow, pulsing expansion and contraction ripples through its form, a cadence that mirrors respiration. To some, this is the ultimate proof of life, an alien metabolism captured in real time. Others theorize it is a growth cycle, a visible manifestation of new structures coalescing and stabilizing within the mass. Whatever the biological truth, the implication is the same. This is not inert matter, but a living process of unknown origin. The video also provides stark evidence of a morphological transformation. The branching, web-like shapes from Kin's earlier updates are now solidifying into recognizable appendages. Certain sections appear more defined, sculpted into forms that strongly suggest the early architecture of arms and legs. The impression is that of a creature actively constructing its own body, a formless substance willing itself into a structured, physical form before our very eyes. The digital aftermath was instantaneous and volcanic. Proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis declared the features, the claw, the eye, the limbs, a perfect match for archetypal depictions of alien life, arguing that no terrestrial process could account for such development from a meteoric origin. The biological camp, while acknowledging the phenomenon's extraordinariness, holds out for unknown fungal or microbial colonies exhibiting radical adaptation. A third, more speculative group posits a technological origin, an engineered smart matter designed to simulate or enact life. What sets this video apart is its visceral immediacy. This is not a grainy still or a second-hand account. It is a raw, unfiltered presence of the other, recorded in intimate detail. Kin's decision to film so directly, despite the perceived risks, has cemented his role as a determined whistleblower against forces that would prefer this discovery remain hidden. This context of external pressure is crucial. Kin has spoken of mounting inquiries and ominous overtures from officials seeking to confiscate his discovery. This backdrop transforms the video's release into a defiant act of preservation, a guarantee that, even if the entity is seized, its existence can never be erased from the public record. Across social media, the emotional response is polarized. A sense of transcendent wonder at witnessing first contact battles with a deep, primal fear of an alien intelligence growing, unsupervised, in human custody. The discussions range from urgent calls for controlled scientific study to dire warnings that humanity is meddling with forces it cannot hope to control. Kin himself has become a figure of immense admiration and concern. His defiance in the face of pressure is seen as a stand for transparency, yet many fear for his safety and the consequences of allowing the creature to develop unchecked. But the true focus remains the entity itself. The claw, the eye, the breathing, the nascent limbs. These details coalesce into an image that is no longer speculative. It is a reality. If this creature continues its metamorphosis, today's video will be remembered as the moment humanity first looked upon a living, breathing alien intelligence and knew, without doubt, that it was not alone. The implications are staggering, challenging our understanding of life's resilience, its capacity for interstellar travel, and potential for interaction between human civilization and a biology from the stars. For now, the entity remains confined within Kin's safe, a growing enigma under one man's guard. But the world has now seen it with unmistakable clarity. Kin's latest video has transformed a mystery into a tangible, living fact. The world now watches, waits, and wonders what the next chapter of this epic-defining story will reveal. The silence has been broken from within the highest echelons of power. Tim Gallaudet, a retired Rear Admiral of the United States Navy, has issued a statement that resonates with the force of a seismic event. Asterisk, I think it's about time we disclose that we are in contact with non-human intelligence. That's what needs to be put out there in the public. Asterisk, this is not the plea of a fringe enthusiast. This is a high-ranking military leader, a former Assistant Secretary of Commerce, lending his formidable credibility to the claims of whistleblowers like David Grush. In a revealing interview, the Admiral peeled back the layers of the government's motive for secrecy, framing it as a relentless pursuit of a strategic military advantage. Its potential to provide a significant advantage in any military confrontation is a subject of great interest and study, he stated, explaining the imperative to guard such recovered technology. He was unequivocal. The intention is to provide a comprehensive picture without divulging the entirety of the recovered technology. But his most profound declaration cuts to the heart of the matter, the need for public acknowledgement of our contact with a non-human intelligence. He asserts, with the authority of a man who has seen the evidence, that we are indeed encountering beings with technology beyond our comprehension and motives that remain elusive. This is no longer a question of if, but matter of when and how the full truth will be told. This shifting narrative finds formidable scientific support in the halls of Stanford University. Dr. Gary P. Nolan, a preeminent figure in pathology and immunology with a long history of government-collaborated cancer research, appeared at a New York forum with a message that left his audience stunned. His credentials are unimpeachable, his perspective rigorously scientific, and his conclusion is absolute. Dr. Nolan stated with unwavering certainty that non-human intelligence is not a future possibility, but a present reality on Earth. He insists the case is closed on its existence. While he stopped short of revealing classified specifics, his assertion that the American government is involved in UFO crash retrieval programs carries immense weight, coming from a scientist of his stature who is known for his skeptical, evidence-based approach. His pronouncement signals a critical breach in the wall of official secrecy, lending an air of scientific inevitability to the Admiral's call for disclosure. In a quieter, yet equally bizarre corner of this unfolding mystery, a farmer's routine morning was shattered by a scene of inexplicable destruction. A gaping hole torn in his barn roof, splintered with littering the hay-strewn floor, and at the center of the chaos, one of his own cows. The security footage from the night before revealed a sequence that defied all logic. The cow, falling at high speed through the roof, as if dropped from a great height by some unseen force. The event, largely ignored by mainstream outlets, has become a sensation online, not merely for its absurdity, but for how perfectly it fits a dark and enduring pattern. For decades, ranchers have reported bizarre phenomena centered on their livestock, mysterious lights hovering over pastures, cow displaying unnatural panic, and most chillingly, the phenomenon of animal mutilations. These are not acts of ordinary predators. The incisions are performed with surgical precision, specific organs removed, blood completely drained, all without a single track or footprint left behind. Investigators like Phil Hyman, with years of experience, dismiss notions of cult rituals, pointing instead to a level of sophistication that suggests the involvement of advanced, non-human entities. This is not a localized anomaly. From the plains of the American west of the fields of the United Kingdom, similar reports have persisted for centuries. A court document from the early 1600s, during the reign of James I of England, describes the sudden, simultaneous death of over 100 sheep, their bodies drained of blood with no evidence of human intervention, witnessed alongside brilliant fireworks in the sky. Theories attempting to explain this macabre interest are as varied as they are unsettling. Are these advanced beings conducting biological or genetic experiments on Earth's fauna? Could cattle, as a heavily genetically modified species by humans, be a subject of their curiosity? Or, more darkly, are they a resource for a civilization facing scarcity? Perhaps the encounters are a form of psychological study on humanity itself, using our livestock as a proxy to gauge our reactions to the inexplicable. While the most sensational UFO stories focus on crafts and humanoid encounters, the persistent global and meticulously documented evidence of animal mutilations represents one of the most tangible and disturbing threads of the entire phenomenon. The farmer's cow, crashing through a roof in the sky, is not just an isolated oddity. It is a modern-day data point in a centuries-old mystery, a stark reminder that the unknown is not only above us, but is interacting with our world in ways we are only beginning to perceive. Behold our sun, that brilliant, life-giving furnace at the center of our celestial neighborhood. For centuries, it has been a symbol of constancy and power. Yet, in recent times, this familiar orb has become the backdrop for a mystery that challenges our very understanding of the solar system. A cadre of dedicated amateur astronomers, scrutinizing data from NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory and the Solar Dynamics Observatory, have borne witness to a staggering sight, a massive, spherical, unidentified object, holding its position in the blistering void just beyond the sun's fiery limb. This is no fleeting shadow or sensor ghost. The object, captured in high-resolution imagery, presents a perfect circular silhouette, a stark, geometric form that contrasts violently with the chaotic, incandescent fury of the solar corona. Its very presence in such an environment is a defiance of physics. The sun's proximity unleashes temperatures in the millions of degrees and radiation that would annihilate any known substance or human-made craft. Yet, this object remains unperturbed and structurally intact, a silent sentinel in the inferno. Initial attempts to explain away as a coronal mass ejection have faltered. Experts note that CMEs manifest as vast, expanding plumes of plasma, jets and fans of incandescent gas. They are never seen as perfectly formed, stable black spheres. This object's symmetry and stability are unnatural. Some scientists have cautiously proposed a rare, unknown solar phenomenon, a bizarre knot of magnetic fields, or unique plasma interaction. Others suggest a comet or asteroid, yet its circular perfection and apparent control defy this simple classification. As the imagery circulated among researchers and online communities, a more profound theory took hold. What if this object is exactly what it appears to be, a craft of immense scale and advanced engineering? Proponents of this view suggest these objects are utilizing the sun itself as a cosmic power station. Our star is the ultimate reactor, radiating near limitless energy. A civilization capable of interstellar travel would logically seek such a source. The theoretical mechanisms are staggering to consider. Imagine vessels equipped not with conventional fuel, but with vast solar sails, exotic, reflective surfaces that harness the subtle but constant pressure of photons themselves. By angling these sails, a craft could achieve incredible velocities, navigating the solar system on the light of the sun. Alternatively, the object could be sheathed in hyper-advanced solar cells, converting the star's raw output directly into power, storing it in systems beyond our comprehension to fuel its systems and propulsion through the dark of interstellar space. This sighting is not an isolated event. It is part of a pattern, a recurring presence of anomalous objects near our star that behave in ways inconsistent with natural phenomena. They are a haunting reminder that our solar system, for all we have mapped and measured, remains a place of profound mystery and potential discovery. The enigmatic does not end at the sun. Our own celestial backyard holds other, equally compelling puzzles. Consider the testimony of Buzz Aldrin, a pioneer who walked on the lunar dust. He has publicly drawn attention to a bizarre feature on the Martian moon Phobos, a monolith. This is not science fiction. It is a factual, observed structure, an unnaturally smooth, rectangular object that stands in stark contrast to the chaotic, potato-shaped rubble of the tiny moon. While mainstream science attributes it to a natural boulder, its perfect geometry amidst the randomness of its surroundings raises undeniable questions. Aldrin himself posed a question that echoes in the mind of every observer. Who put that there? Phobos is a barren, airless rock, making the presence of such a distinct, geometric feature all the more unsettling. It stands as a silent monument, a potential artifact on our cosmic doorstep, yet plans for a dedicated mission to investigate it, dubbed the Phobos Reconnaissance and International Mars Exploration Prime, remain stalled, leaving the mystery unresolved. Further out, in the asteroid belt, the dwarf planet Ceres reveals another wonder that expands our definition of a world. NASA's Dawn spacecraft unveiled a staggering sight. Ahana Mons, a mountain 13,000 feet tall that is not a volcano of fire and rock, but of ice. This is a cryovolcano. On the frigid surface of Ceres, where temperatures are too cold to melt rock but can soften ice, Ahana Mons erupts. But its lava is not molten stone. It is water, methane, and ammonia, a frigid slurry that freezes upon contact with the vacuum of space. This cryomagma suggests a complex, active interior, a world with a subsurface ocean and geological processes we are only beginning to understand. The discovery of cryovolcanism on Ceres and on moons like Enceladus and Europa redefines the potential for activity and habitability on icy worlds across the cosmos. From the vastness of space, our mystery descends to the hidden depths of our own planet. A lone hiker in the wilds of Virginia recently shared a photograph that has since become a modern enigma. Venturing into a cave, he saw ahead what he assumed was another hiker, standing motionless. As he approached, he realized the figure's head was not illuminated by a headlamp, but was itself the source of a brilliant, pulsating, and uncomfortably bright white light. The hiker, an experienced outdoorsman, was so unsettled he only dared to view the entity through the zoom lens of his phone, capturing a grainy but unmistakable image, a humanoid form with a head of pure, radiant energy. He swiftly retreated, leaving behind a question that has haunted humanity for centuries. What dwells in the unseen dark beneath our feet? This account taps into a deep vein of folklore and speculation about subterranean beings. From the mole people of urban legend to the benevolent ant people of Native American tradition, stories of intelligent life residing in vast underground networks are pervasive across cultures. These are often dismissed as myth, yet they persist. The unsettling account of the Virginia hiker does not exist in a vacuum. It finds a chilling and profound echo not in the pages of fantasy, but in the staggering, rock-hewn reality of Derinkuyu in Turkey. This is no mere cave network. It is a breathtaking archaeological fact, a subterranean metropolis that plunges 18 stories, over 200 feet, into volcanic tuff of Cappadocia. Its scale is almost incomprehensible. Carved over 3,000 years ago, possibly by the Phrygians or Hittites, this was not a simple refuge, but a fully self-sufficient civilization in reverse, a city built not toward the sky, but into the heart of the earth, designed to be forgotten by the world above. Imagine the labyrinthine complexity. Over 600 individual doorways leading to a warren of living quarters, communal kitchens, stables for thousands of heads of livestock, churches with arched ceilings and carved altars, wineries with fermentation vats, oil presses, smithies, and even elaborate systems of tombs, an entire life cycle conducted in perpetual, cool twilight of the underground. This was a world capable of sustaining up to 20,000 people for months, even years, on end. Its engineering was nothing short of genius. 52 massive labyrinthine ventilation shafts, some descending the full depth of the city, ensured a constant supply of fresh air to even the deepest levels, while ingenious wells, tapped directly into the groundwater table far below, provided a lifeline that no surface siege could ever break. The city's ultimate defense lay in its hallways, colossal circular stone doors, weighing half a ton each, meticulously crafted to fit into recessed slots in the passageways. These could be rolled shut from the inside in moments, sealing entire sections like a stone vault, impervious to battering rams or fire. These were not just doors. They were the final barrier, a definitive statement that the world above was now forbidden, a technology of isolation perfected millennia ago. But Dorinkwu is not alone. It is merely the crown jewel of a region riddled with over 200 such underground cities, all potentially connected by miles of hidden, yet to be fully mapped tunnels. The nearby Keimakli, another 8-level complex, and the tantalizing potential of a 10-kilometer connecting passageway to Dorinkwu itself, suggests something far grander than isolated refuges. They hint at a subterranean nation, a hidden network operating in parallel to the one basking in the sun, a deep-state civilization that could move, trade, and communicate entirely independent of the surface world. The sheer logistical nightmare of excavating and maintaining such a complex, of removing millions of tons of rock without modern machinery, and of designing such a perfect life support system, forces a monumental and humbling question. If ancient humanity, with Bronze Age tools and sheer determination, could orchestrate such an epic retreat into the earth, what might have been achieved by other, perhaps older, intelligences over vastly greater spans of time? What if the techniques used at Dorinkwu were not invented, but inherited from a much older, forgotten culture that mastered the deep earth? The geological timeline of Earth is a chronicle of near-constant upheaval and extinction, supervolcanoes, ice ages, bombardment events, and pole shifts. Mainstream science tells us of the rise and fall of dinosaurs, but what of intelligent life? The fossil record is notoriously incomplete. Could a previous, unknown branch of intelligent life have faced a terminal cataclysm, a solar micronova, a planetary crustal displacement, and chosen not to fight the changing surface, but to abandon it entirely? What if the global legends of Agartha, Shambhala, or the Hollow Earth are not pure fantasy, but distorted cultural memory, a racial echo of a time when the others went below, when the true masters of the planet retreated into the planetary crust to wait out the surface's turbulent cycles? Our planet's crust is largely unexplored. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the vast, lightless aquifers, magma chambers, and cavern systems that honeycomb our own world. The deep biosphere is now known to host immense, subterranean ecosystems of microbes living independently of the sun's energy. In these immense, high-pressure darknesses, over hundreds of millions of years, could more complex, even intelligent, ecosystem have evolved independently of us? Beings of stone and silence, sensing the world through seismic vibrations and bioelectric fields, for whom our bustling, sunlit world is a terrifying, alien, and hostile frontier. This brings us back to the hiker's account with a new and deeply unsettling perspective. The radiant being he encountered, a humanoid form with a head of pure, pulsating light that caused physical discomfort to his eyes, defies all conventional explanation. It was not carrying a source of illumination. It was the source. Could this be a fleeting glimpse of such a subterranean inhabitant? not a mythical monster, but being so perfectly adapted to perpetual darkness that its very biology has evolved to produce light for navigation, communication, or even hunting, a form of controlled, advanced bioluminescence far beyond the simple flicker of an anglerfish. Or, more chillingly, could the light be a byproduct or an intentional emission of a technology that allows it to interface with our surface world? A personal energy field or holographic interface that is as natural and necessary to it as air is to us. Perhaps it was a scout, a geologist of its kind, monitoring the surface, and the hiker was the anomalous, intrusive presence in its territory. Its motionless stance suggests not aggression, but observation, study, a scientist calmly noting the behavior of a newly encountered and perhaps primitive surface-dwelling creature. The connections now weave a tapestry of the unknown that spans the entire cosmos, binding the macro to the micro. From a colossal, sun-harvesting sphere, a technology of stellar proportions dancing in a stellar inferno, to an artificial-looking monolith, a potential data archive or beacon, standing silent sentinel on a dead Martian moon. From the silent, icy cryovolcanoes of Ceres spewing their frozen, life-bearing lava into the void, hinting at hidden oceans and biologies in the darkest reaches of our solar system, to a single radiant, silent being encountered in a lightless cave on Earth, the universe, seems determined to remind us of our own profound ignorance and our precarious place in a cosmos teeming with mystery. The greatest frontier is not merely in the distant blackness between stars. It is in the unexplored, crushing depths of our own oceans, in the vast, unmapped caverns that vein the continents beneath our feet, and in the unsettling, paradigm-shattering possibility that we are not the sole masters, nor even the primary inhabitants of this planet. We may merely be the transient tenants of the sunlit upper floor, blissfully unaware of the ancient, sophisticated, and perhaps equally curious civilizations residing in the immense, dark basement of our own world.